Zacharias with Cougar USA, and I'm on location in Orlando, Florida at the Orange County Convention Center for the 2020 AHR Expo. There's thousands of manufacturers here to show off their latest and greatest in technology. So be taking you to some of the best booths, meeting with some of the people from those manufacturers, also meeting with some of the top industry professionals, talking about the latest DOE regulations and the impact that will have, and meeting with some of our Cougar Systems reps from across the country. Hi, we are at the Grundfos booth at the 2020 AHR. I'm joined by Greg Bretz with Grundfos. Thank you. Thanks for having us here. So we are in front of this giant package booster system here. This is the Hydro MPC with the CRXLs. We're very familiar with the Hydro MPC, but typically using it for pressure boosting applications. This is going to take us to a whole new level. Greg, why don't you give us a little bit more information about what we're looking at here?
Sure. Yeah. No, this is the Hydro MPC, as you said. You know, most people know it for the domestic boosting application, but as you see up on the wall there, Grundfos is all about pioneering the future. You walk around the booths in this building, you're not going to see any pumping systems like this. This is a really great application or a product for the HVAC application, and the main reason for that is that HVAC systems are designed around the heavy, the high load point, and they don't typically run there. About 80% of the time they're running on a part load. This system allows us to only run the pumps when they're needed. So the most efficient pump to run is the one that's not running at all, right?
Yep.
And the magic in that happens here in the CU352 controller, which is the Grundfos controller. It's the same controller actually on the domestic booster system, but we have some unique HVAC control modes in there that allow us to operate this very efficiently.
Yeah, the controls are awesome. The other thing I love about this system is this new CRXL pump, and it is this, if you're familiar with working with the CR pump, the smaller ones that we use on the domestic boosting, you can still work on this larger CRXL pump. So very easy to work on. You get the great turn down having the multiple smaller pumps, and it just works out to be a great system for HVAC, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and customers love it. It's a small footprint relative to what most HVAC pumping solutions would look like. The other thing is pretty much everything except for a few of the valves and things that you see here are manufactured by Grundfos. The manifolds, the integrated VFDs, the motors, the pumps, the controls, it's all Grundfos, single point of responsibility. Our customers really like that.
Yeah. All right, well, let's check out some of the other parts of the booth. Okay, so now we are moved on a little bit to another spot of the booth, and we've got the new Hydro MPC with the CME pumps. Greg, why don't you tell us about this one?
Yeah, no, this is just the natural extension of our Hydro MPC line. It gives you all the same features and functionality in the CU352 controller, but does it in a much smaller, compact footprint. And this is more for your smaller buildings, maybe 150 feet or less pressure boost, and it utilizes the CME pumps there with the integrated Grundfos, and all of these are 100% ECM motors on these packages.
And, I think for us in Houston, this is going to be primarily for smaller HVAC applications. We're not typically using the CME pumps with our pressure boosting now that we're pulling out of the brake tanks, but I think it's going to be a great addition to our HVAC offering.
Yeah, no, and just like with the big system over there, all the same features and functionality are in here. So you have all the HVAC control modes in here. Proportional differential pressure control is primarily what we would use on this for an HVAC application.
Yeah, but I love this. It's a really small footprint, great for the aftermarket, be able to get it in and out of small mechanical rooms without a lot of taking apart, putting it back together.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see what else we got. Now we are checking out the LCSE. This is an end suction pump. It is split coupled, but it's got a rigid coupling on there. Greg, why don't you give us some info on this one?
Yeah, no, this is the LCSE product for us. As like a lot of the products, actually all the products in the booth, it has the integrated Grundfos VFD and drive. This is an ECM motor. The unique thing about this is, like you said, it does have a split coupling. It's a rigid coupling, but for some reason, a lot of people still use pumps that require alignment. This pump comes with a lifetime alignment guarantee. You never need to align it, so that's a really great feature. The other thing that's new to this is that we now have proportional differential pressure control on it right at the pump. You don't need to mount sensors out into the system. It's all controlled here right at the pump. And the great thing for you guys is this is manufactured in your backyard in Brookshire, Texas.
Yep. No, it's a great facility. It's great to have pumps with this kind of technology coming out of there. If anybody wants to go check out the factory in Brookshire, happy to take y'all out there. Greg, now we are here in front of the TPE3. Really interesting little note on this guy. Been talking with a lot of people about the new PEI and DOE, or the DOE regulations and the PEI and the energy rating from Hydraulic Institute. This pump, the TPE3, has the highest energy rating, the lowest PEI of any pump in that database. What's going on in this pump? Where are we using it?
Yeah, no, this is a great little pump. You know, the main reason we're able to achieve those kinds of efficiencies is because we have our ECM motor technology integrated with all of them. And what that allows us to do is to overspeed this motor at really high RPMs, which gets to the the specific speed of this specific hydraulic pump, which gets super high efficiency. So the PEI, the hydraulic DOE PEI limit is 1.0, with lower number being better.
Yep.
This is 0.2 in the 0.2 range.
Right.
Most efficient pump out there.
Yeah, meaning it's 80% better than the bar. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's a great pump. I think we'll have some great applications for this. Some of your secondary loops in HVAC, be able to do a lot of that same kind of integrated controls in the secondary loops. Potentially even hot water return if it's a much larger system. But yeah, great pump there for some of the closed loops.
And for those that are familiar with our Magna 3 product, it's basically got all of the same features and control modes that we have available in the Magna 3.
Yeah, big advantage though available in 483 phase.
Exactly.
Right, not limited to the single phase.
Exactly.
So awesome pump. All right. Now we are here with the Magna 3. This is showing the dual configuration here. We're using the Magna 3s a lot for domestic hot water return applications. Really love this pump. Love the control modes, especially being able to do the constant temperature for the hot water return loops. What other possibilities are there here, especially with this dual configuration?
Yeah, no, the dual head is great. It's basically the same functionality, but these two pumps cycle and cascade automatically. They communicate to one another, and that way you're able to actually have redundancy and also to be able to double your capacity.
Awesome. So this now with the dual heads like this, you could even open up other applications besides domestic hot water return?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's great. Awesome. Well, a lot more innovation here from Grundfos. It's great to check out everything in the booth. Between the CRXLs, the LCSE, TPE3, and now the Magna 3, Grundfos has a huge offering of these intelligent pumps, and everything that they're doing really shows in the product offering that we have this year.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the Grundfos booth for the 2020 AHR Expo. We will be with you in our next booth. We are here in the Nexus booth. I'm joined with Nick Hollowell from Nexus, and we're going to be looking at some of the applications here for the hydronic side. We really do like these coil packs that we're using in front of air handlers and some of the fan coil units. So Nick, can you give us a little overview of the different options that we have here for these coil packs?
Yeah, so first coil pack here is the M2Y. This is going to be your manual balancing. The main difference here between the two kits, this is a hose pack, this is a coil pack.
Yep.
But in terms of balancing methods, you have the MB, which are going to use a globe-style balancing valve. You're adjusting the CV inside of that valve. Then you can read across the two ports to figure out your differential.
Yep.
And get your flow rate. Up here you have an automatic balancing valve, which is going to use that brass cartridge.
Yeah, so down here we have the manual. This is the multi-turn balancing valve, right? So we're adjusting here to control our flow rate, and up here we've got the automatic style using our cartridge.
Right.
Love about the automatics is as long as your differential pressure is between 2 and 50 psi, which hopefully it is, it's going to maintain whatever the flow rate of that cartridge is, right? So we do a lot of the O2Y kits, so it's a little bit more on the manuals.
Yep.
But automatics are a great choice for the balancing there. You kind of set it and forget it. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the options here with the hoses and the bypass kits?
Well, the automatic kit up here, this is going to be mainly for your water source heat pumps. There is no union. Typically, they'll put the control valve up here right against the coil. And the nice thing about this, you can tell just between the two kits the amount of brass that's used. So we're able to take the hose and directly mount it onto our valve, and so you don't have any of the tail pieces and union nuts. And so by saving all that brass, you're also saving money
and time. Yeah, great way to reduce time on your installation, give you a little bit more flexibility there. Now, what do we got going on with the bypass kit?
Yeah, so the bypass kit, this is primarily used as a flushing kit. So you want a way to isolate, so typically this will be closed in operation. As soon as you want to bypass or flush the system, you would turn this guy here, turn this one up here, open this guy up, and so now you have complete isolation from any of the equipment. Because typically with any type of flushing, forward, backward, you don't want to go through cartridges, orifices, coils.
Yep.
Right. So, this gives you the ability to completely isolate from all the main equipment.
Nice. And we're showing it here directly piped from the supply return, right? But they could also kind of extend that with the nipple if they needed to.
Yeah, and this is going to be the BKU bypass kit. So this one, you can get it fully assembled from the factory if you want, which is basically just this ball valve is piped into, you have a union nut tailpiece and then a union nut tailpiece. And so we're not using any pipe, but you can also get this where this valve here is just a female by female.
Okay.
That's a female by female. We would call that a BKF. And from there, you can, in the field, they can add in whatever size pipe that they'd like.
It's awesome. And, we have, Cougar, we have the temporary flushing rental skids. So if you're using those to flush your system, this is a great way to be able to isolate your equipment during that flush and not damage any of the balancing equipment or your coils, like you said.
Right.
So, great offering here for the hydronic balancing applications. But we do have some other products that we use with Nexus that we wanted to show off a little bit. So switching gears here over to the domestic side. Now this is going to be the low lead manual balancing valve, correct here. So give us a little bit of background here. And he's also started a Nexus Fast Facts on that you can check out online, and he's got some of these covered. So why don't you give us a little background on what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, so this is the manual balancing no lead valve, same technology that's in the Ultra MB. Only difference being this is going to be a female by female valve. There is no unions, tailpieces, anything like that. You're still going to have 100 different points of balancing, and it has the white cap or handle that's certified, or that shows that it's lead-free.
Lead, right.
And then you have this is also NSF 61 and 372 approved.
Okay.
So so you can put this on any hot water recirc line or any potable water system that that you'd like.
And so these are great. Anytime you're joining back from the branch lines to the main return, you're going to want to have one of these balancing valves, and we're seeing pretty low flows on that, half to 2 GPM per branch line. So the manual works great. Like same way there, you're going to tie in read your differential pressure across the valve, and look at your chart to see what your flow rate is.
Right.
But the other option now is the new addition here with the automatic. So what's going on with this little guy?
Yeah, so this is going to use the same body as the MB. The only difference, and actually you can take, if you have this valve or vice versa installed, you can take out the internals that's in the Y portion of the body, take them out, and you can make them automatic balancing,
or manual.
You can go back to the manual.
And
so
the other thing is too, right, is if say we order it with a different flow rate, and it turns out we actually need a different one, you can easily swap out the cartridge to adjust for that flow.
Right.
Correct?
And so there's a cartridge exchange program where if it's returned with, or if the flow rate's not right within 1 year, you can ship them back to Nexus, and then we'll exchange those cartridges.
That's awesome.
So, but the main difference, between I guess this valve and then what you would see as the Ultramatic, everything's going to work the same internally, but you're going to have a composite cartridge, and so you still have the stainless steel moving parts, but the housing is going to be composite as opposed to brass.
Sure.
So
to meet the low lead standard. So
right.
This is a great way to automatically balance for those different branch zones. Don't have to measure your DP and manually set the valve. It's going to automatically balance that flow.
Yeah.
Again, staying within that 2 to 50 psi differential, which
Right.
hopefully in a hot water return situation, we're going to be well
Yeah.
within that range.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to reset, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the larger equipment for the air handling units for hydronic balancing. All right. Now we are checking out some of the larger balancing equipment that Nexus has to offer. Typically, in this configuration, we're doing the N2FY balancing station. Would you give us a little info on that one?
Yeah, so this is going to be an NXFB, and so what that really means is you have a pitot tube here, which we call the twin tube.
Yep.
And so all you're doing here, it's just another way to balance in a system. You have your high and your low ports. You're adjusting with the butterfly valve here, and then you can really dial in your flow. And so that kind of explains, the Nextrol 2.5 inch through 12 inch.
Yep.
You can get these in just the normal flange, or you can go with threaded or grooved adapters on these valves.
Yeah, in general, we can also do just the next tube piece there. So it's a great spool piece with all of these ports built in. You don't have to add any ports if you need to add gauges and thermometers, things like that. Can be used anywhere out in the system just as a spool piece there.
Yeah.
So if we don't want to do the manual balancing, we can step up to the Ultramatic here, right?
Ultramatic, it's the same technology. I think you can actually grab a, I don't know if we took them out or not. Oh, here it is.
Is it this one?
There we go, right here.
Oh, you got it right there. Okay.
Yeah, so depending on the size, if you get up into, 6, 8, 10, 12 inch, you're going to have more cartridges inside. But even all the way down from our smallest half-inch Ultramatics, it's the same technology.
Yep.
Just comes down to what your flow rate is. I believe, this is 2.5 inch to 48 inch, which is kind of once you get up past, 20 inch, then everything's pretty special, special order. So, but yeah, 25 GPM all the way to over 50,000 GPM. So we can keep adding, basically on these spool pieces, keep adding the cartridges.
Yep. So our other thing that we want to look at on here is the Strain-X down here at the bottom.
Yeah.
And this is can be included as part of the N2FY, but great combination strainer and has those additional ports on it. Using these hydronic applications, the other place that we like to use that is on the inlets to the fill stations for our domestic applications. Great point to be able to monitor city pressure, the pressure gauge, pressure transmitter, and then also anywhere where we're having a strainer in the system larger than 2.5 inch and larger.
Yeah,
it's a great option. So.
Yeah. And with any of our flange valves, you can still do. Most of them are going to have option ports in there where you can put those blowdowns. You could put the air vents or the thermometers or gauges or whatever you have, and you can still put in those grooved adapters, threaded adapters, add a butterfly valve. So there's a lot of configurability in the products, and so I think that's why they do so well. So.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's what we have here to show you at the Nexus booth from the 2020 AHR Expo. Nick, thank you for showing us around. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
All right. We'll see you at the next booth.
Yeah, and check out the Nexus LinkedIn page, Nexus Valve, for the Fast Fact series.
Awesome. Hi, we are here in the Central Therm booth now. This is a brand new product for Cougar to be representing here in Houston. We're really excited about it. I'm here with Kevin Sponable here with Central Therm. We're going to be giving a little background here, but this is going to be the flue pipe that we're going to be pairing with the Intelli-Hot or any other gas-fired equipment. So, Kevin, can you give us a little bit of background on the Central Therm product and how we're going to be able to apply it?
Sure. Central Therm has been manufacturing this product here. It's called Interflue in the United States for about 10 years. It is the only polypropylene in the U.S. that has the UL 1738 listing. We manufacture diameter from 2 inches to 12 inches in diameter. We have a complete line of accessories to go with the products. As you can see, this is a common vent system here, so we have the manifold systems that we have available. We also have terminations, condensate drains for our product line. Our product is automatically pitched. We offer 87-degree elbows so that we can pitch our products.
Okay.
Built-in pitch.
And what's the real advantage going with this over the PVC?
The biggest advantage over PVC is there's no gluing, there's no priming. Our product is gasketed, so you just put a little bit of lubrication on the gasket. You can slide it in. Our product is designed for expansion and contraction, where PVC is a hard-fitted joint because it's glued together, so it does not allow for expansion and contraction. The biggest thing for PVC and CPVC is PVC and CPVC is rated for wastewater. If you actually go into the ASTM standards for PVC and CPVC, it specifically states in there that this product is only designed for wastewater, and if you're going to use product for flue gas, you should use a product like this, which is UL 1738 listed.
Awesome. Right? It's a great product. So there's a lot of time savings here on the installation.
Yes, not
right?
only will they save up to 30% in labor savings, they'll also save in manpower because of the weight of the product line. If you were to take a 12-inch diameter piece of CPVC that's 10 foot long, that product weighs about 180 pounds. You take the same 12-inch diameter piece of our product, 10 foot long, that weighs 38 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So it's much lighter to use. It's easier to install. You can field cut it. So it's you can easily cut the product line. And we're not only are we certified on the Intelli-Hot appliances, but we're certified on 100% of the Category 4 appliances, as well as 100% of the Category 4 water heaters.
Awesome. So yeah, we're really excited about this product. We're going to be stocking this very shortly, and hopefully, have some more videos and information for everybody soon.
Yes.
So, all right, Kevin,
All
really
right.
appreciate you having us in the booth.
Thank you for your time. Yep.
And we'll see you at the next booth. Thanks, guys. All right, now we are in the Intelli-Hot booth. I'm joined here with the founder, Sri. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi.
Hey, and we're really excited about the Intelli-Hot heaters. We've been on board with them for about a year. And behind us here, this is the 3 million BTU unit for the floor standing. But before we get into this, I'd love to hear the story from you, just a little bit of how the company got started, how you came up with this design. I just think it's a great story.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, very nice to see you. So we started the company about 10 years ago, and it started when a tank heater broke and flooded my house. And at the time, when we looked at it, we knew almost 50% of the energy that it was burning was just going outside.
Wasted, sure.
It was a huge waste. It stored a lot of water, and it probably grew a lot of bacteria in that water. So that's how the company got started, pretty much from ground up.
Yeah, it's a great story. Here's a product. It exists. You have an issue at your house, and you're like, you know what? I can do this better. So what is it that you came up with? What's the design that we have here in the floor standing unit?
So let me tell you how we have been heating water, and we have been doing it the same way. When I say we, in the United States and in the larger world, generally water is heated by storing it in large containers and either lighting a fire underneath it or putting the fire alongside it in a boiler and circulating that water.
Sure.
Fundamentally, it was done because people consumed water at different quantities, and you wanted to have a steady control of temperature. And one way to do that was to store water in large quantities. And that practice continued for about 150 years, and industries have been built around it. The challenges with that, you're burning energy 24/7. You need large quantities of water to be stored. You grow bacteria in it. And if you wanted backup, you would double up that piece of equipment. So essentially, you as an end customer, you'd spend twice as much, need twice the space, burn twice as much energy. It's a huge waste. We came up with a very simple concept. The concept itself is not new. Why don't we heat water when it's consumed? And we provide that water when somebody opens the tap. To do that, we had to literally reinvent everything that you see in our product. The heat exchanger, the controls, the heating algorithms, the display, everything is built from scratch. And I could tell you more about this product.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Okay.
Just real quick, I'm going to turn you up just a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so what you see inside this box, this is all designed, developed in Galesburg, Illinois. This is one of our largest units. It's a 3 million BTU unit. This unit looks like the size of a fridge, fits through standard doorways. This can do a 300-room hotel by itself.
Yep.
Inside this unit, there are 12 individual engines, each having a turn-down of about 8 to 1, and as a whole, this unit can handle flows as little as 1 gallon per minute, all the way up to 100 gallons per minute.
Yeah.
And it can do anything in between.
Yep. It is, and the efficiency is there, right? I mean, you're not losing performance as you go through that.
Yeah,
that
since
load
you're
profile.
tracking the load all the time, you get 100% efficiency all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, can we take it open?
Yeah.
Take a look here.
Yes, this is our control panel, and from here you can adjust the temperature that you need. And everything here is laid out similar to your iPhone. There's not much explanation to be said here. You could look at the life of critical components, and I'll show you a little bar graph. You could look at what type of flows have gone through this unit, how much your customer has spent, what their peak flows are. All of this is available on the screen.
Yep.
In fact, it is not only available on the screen, this unit comes right out of the box being connected to the internet. So you can download our app, and then you can have complete visibility of the unit's performance and individual components as if you're in front of the unit from anywhere on the planet.
Yeah, it's an awesome service.
Now, in terms of how the unit works, it's quite simple. This unit can run on either natural gas or propane, and then you vent out. You feed in cold water, and out comes hot water. And hot water can go to all your demand points. No storage needed.
Yep.
If your flow rate goes up, the unit tracks it. Flow rate goes down, tracks it. Flow is shut off, unit shuts off.
Right, and you have a bypass built in. Just circulate the hot water.
Yeah.
Good to go.
So internally, the unit looks as if it's it has the same pressure drop performance as a typical tank.
Okay.
And because of that, you can take this unit and slide it and replace existing boiler tank systems without disturbing the rest of the building.
It's great. I mean, we love this product for the aftermarket. It really is, like you said, in and out of a single door, perfect replacement for the tank style system. So,
in terms of warranty, our heat exchangers are guaranteed for 10 years, one of the highest in the industry. All the internal parts are warranted for 2 years. And if you go on our website, you can use a sizing calculator, or you can download our app. It's called Intelli-Size. And when you size using our app, you can put in whether you're doing a school, hospital, nursing home, multifamily, restaurant, any of those. And if you put in the fixture counts, it'll generate a report within seconds. And that report will have the type of unit you need, the plumbing schematics, and the best part about that is the company stands behind its sizing. When we developed the sizing, we collected data pretty much throughout the country. And so we have one of the largest databases in the country as far as how water is consumed and how it is used. Whether you're a school or a hospital or a 100-room hotel or a 1,000-room hotel, we have data for that. So everything you do in our sizing has been based on actual measured flow. And because of that, we guarantee our sizing. So if you size it, for whatever reason, if our equipment is not able to meet your peak demand, the company will provide additional equipment at no cost.
Yeah, it's an awesome offering for not only for you to have the sizing software that's based on the real data, like you said, which, from what our experience has seen, especially on the pressure boosting side, the demands and the actual consumption is way lower than what the what design loads sometimes are. So obviously that's going to carry over to the heating for the hot water. So for you guys to have that as a guaranteed selection based on your experience is really unique, and one of the things that we love about working with y'all and love doing those sort of selections and guiding that to the engineers and the owners. So yeah, we love that.
A couple other things. Since we heat water on demand, there is no storage. And if you can eliminate storage, you fundamentally eliminate a root cause for Legionella bacteria. So this is a great device to mitigate against Legionella. It fits through standard doorways. It weighs a lot of times 1/3 of conventional equipment, so you don't need reinforced floors. All in all, we find that putting this equipment not only results in lower upfront costs, but also lower owning and operating costs.
Yeah, and it's a great point to bring that up because, when we talk about the initial installation cost, that's often, 10, 15% of the actual life cycle cost of the unit. So when you're looking at the energy consumption, the maintenance, definitely going to have a lower life cycle cost than most traditional heating systems. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have 12 engines here. They're all they all work together through our patented system called masterless controls.
Mm-hmm.
And what it means is each one of them share information with each other, but there is not a single system that is actually controlling all of them.
Right.
Like in today's boilers, you might have a bank of boilers, but a master controller controlling all of them. So the master controller or the link fails.
Everything
fails.
Right.
This system is impossible to bring down. In fact, one of the demonstrations we do is when the unit is running, you can start unplugging sensors. That particular module will isolate itself. The other ones will regroup and continue running, and your customer will get uninterrupted hot water.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I think we've said it before. It's a brilliant design to not only make the heat exchangers modular to give you that turn down and the redundancy, like you said, but to pair that with the masterless controls truly makes this redundant and give you that broad range of controls over the flow rates. Like you said, 1 to 100 GPM.
Right.
On this. So, it's an incredible design, and we've just had a lot of success with it, and looking forward to growing that moving forward. Well, that's what we have for you today from the Intelli-Hot booth. Again, Shri, really appreciate your time today.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us, and we look forward to seeing you at the next booth. All right, we are here in the Heat Timer booth now, joined with Jim Nicholas. Thanks for having us here. So we are working with Heat Timer using the ETV Platinum Plus and the ETS package systems here for the hot water distribution, the hot water mixing stations. But Jim, love to hear a little bit more about the history of the company, how y'all got started, and how you got into the mixing stations here.
Sure. Heat Timer's been around since 1937. They basically started by two brothers in Manhattan. About 1930s, and that was when heating boilers in multiple family buildings and stuff like that were going from being coal-fired to oil-fired.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when they were coal-fired, they had basically a gentleman down there shoveling coal into the boiler. But, he was really basically the building management system.
Yeah.
If the building was too cold, he shoveled more coal. Too hot, he shoveled less. Well, when they converted it from coal-fired boilers to oil-fired boilers, they basically ran the boilers off of an aquastat.
Okay.
Well, that just ended up overheating these buildings, and what ended up happening was you saw a lot of windows starting to open up in the middle of winter. Well, these two brothers saw that and said, you know what, we could do a better thing. So they developed a control that did outdoor reset for steam boilers. It was the first such control ever to be made. And basically it would turn the boiler on for a certain period of time, turn the boiler off for a certain period of time. Hence
the name.
Heat Timer.
Yep.
So about 20 years ago, there was an incident in New York City where a lot of the thermostatic valves and stuff were never maintained and stuff like that. And they had a lot of scalding issues and stuff like that. So Heat Timer came up with a control called the TMC at that time, which is basically a valve that would look at the outlet temperature, and if it got too hot, would shut off the hot to it. And then we got to thinking, well, hey, we could build this better mousetrap. So we came up with the ETV.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, we had two controls, the ETV and the TMC. And then we got smarter, and we said, you know what, we'll put the two controls together, and we came up with the ETV Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So the ETV Plus was just basically a control that could do domestic hot water tempering electronically and that. And then we had the feature that we could do the high temperature limit with the valve, so therefore we had ETV Plus TMC. So we've been doing that for, like I said, for roughly about 20 years now, and that. This is the ETV Platinum Plus.
Mm-hmm.
That platform there will allow us to do remote communication, such as BACnet, Modbus, and we do have a communication product that is RINet, which goes onto our own online program software, and that called ICMS. Remotely through any internet connection, the customer can see the control. He can make adjustments. We can also set up different alarm contexts and stuff like that. So what we do is we give the control module, the actuator, the valve body, and one sensor. Just pieces and parts, let the contractor build it together. Well, a lot of engineers were like, hey, you know, we want to see a fine product that's all assembled, that we could just drop in and everything like that. So we came up with the ETS.
Yep.
And that. The ETS is a pre-pipe, pre-wire package that includes the ETV, the valve. We also include the TMC valve, the safety valve there.
On the hot water inlet.
On the hot water inlet, correct. So there's several versions of the ETS that we have. We start off with an 1.5 inch version, which was what we call a simplex version. And then we go to 2-inch connections and 2.5 inch connections. And then for larger applications, we twin two 2-inch valves together and have 3-inch connections. That's called our 30. And then for even larger applications, we do two 2.5 inch valves, and that's our ETS 40 with 4-inch connections.
Yep.
The neat thing about the ETS is, if you notice, it sits on the floor. It's a very small footprint.
Yep.
The simplex models are 18 inches wide, only by 30 inches depth, and you can see they stand about 4 to 5 feet tall. And that the duplex grows out to about 36 inches in that, but we still maintain the 30-inch depth. That way we could get it through doorways and that stands a little bit taller than this.
But you still have all of your piping connections labeled and easy to access up there at the top.
That's correct.
Single point power connection for the electrical and controls contractors, very easy plug and play. We like to do this a lot with a lot of the systems that we provide. You know, say it's just water in, water out, and power. Right. That's all they need.
Every ETS has 5 connections to it. So you'll see there'll be the cold water supply coming in from the street. We have the building recirc coming in. And then what we do is we have what we call the magic T. And that's where we bring the recirc in prior to where the cold water would split off, going to the ETV valve and then to the water heaters. That T is very critical because that gives us recirc to both the heaters and to the valve, and it will naturally balance itself. So that's one of our connections, which is the cold recirc going back to the water heaters. We have the connection for the hot coming from the water heaters, and then, of course, we got the mix going out to the system. Every ETS, again, comes with a TMC valve. That has a battery backup in it. So if we lose power in that, the ETV actuator, valve actuator itself, has a capacitor in it. It will drive the valve to full cold.
Right.
To avoid any type of creep or anything like that, we have 100% shut off on the TMC valve and that. Now, again, if we set a high temperature limit in there and we hit that high temperature limit, the ETV valve will drive full cold and the TMC valve will go shut. When that happens, it is a manual reset on the control. When power is lost, once power comes back, everything goes back into its normal operations. And
yeah, we really love this system, have great success with it. You know, love that it's more of a controls approach to this system, a control system, not necessarily a mechanical valve that is reacting to the changes. You know, you've got very simple 3-way control valve with the actuator and a great controls package in there that you can actually make your adjustments on, see the system feedback, and get that feed forward control, looking at that return water inlet temperature to see if you're going to have that change in demand. So really have enjoyed having this system and being able to provide it to our customers.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, again, heat timer on all their controls, whether it's this control or any of our other boiler controls, simplicity is key. And that if you take a look at the actuator here, it's only mounted onto the external of the valve body by a U-bolt, so it's easy to service. It does have a manual adjustment here, so that if it does fail in a case like that, you don't need to worry about having bypass piping around the valve and undoing valves and stuff like that. You can put this into a full hot position, turn down the thermostat on the water heaters, and you'll be good to go until we can send out a replacement. And that As far as the control goes, it's a very simple, user-friendly menu and stuff. Just follow along. I'll ask you questions, and you just basically answer the questions how you see fit.
For service, we also love it too. I mean, if you do have an issue with the actuator, you know, like most electrical, mechanical devices, at some point you are going to have issues with anything. It's one actuator across all of the sizes,
That's
which we
correct.
keep in stock. So very quick to change out and get the customer back up and going.
Yep. And the great thing about electronic is you can see what's happening, and the accuracy. You know, plus or minus 2 degrees from half a GPM domestic flow all the way up to full flow.
Yep. And that's huge. I mean, in domestic hot water applications have that big variable demand. Was just over at the Intelli-Hot booth, and we were talking about the same thing. So, you know, great combination to be able to cover the full flow of the demands of the building with these systems. So.
And, you know, we don't like to say it's no maintenance, but the valve body itself is a full port valve body. It's got a plunger in it. So there's no low orifices or anything like that you need to worry about scale buildup occurring in it. So, yeah, it's basically maintenance free, you know. Hate saying that, but,
Sure.
you know.
As close as you can get,
As close as you can get.
Still going to recommend some strainers in the piping, but, you know, overall, great,
yes.
right? You know, stainless steel body, full port, so that's awesome. Awesome.
So.
Well, really appreciate you having us in the booth today. A
great
lot of
talking
great
to you.
information. Yeah, look forward to seeing you here in a couple weeks at our open house, and we'll see you guys at the next booth.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, we are in the Diversified Heat Transfer booth, or DHT, and I'm joined here with Jake Goldberg from DHT. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
The 2020 AHR show is off to a great start, and happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we've been working with DHT for a few years now on mainly using their instantaneous steam-fired and water-to-water heaters for domestic water applications. But today we're looking at a new option here for the indirect water heater. Jake, can you give us a little bit of a rundown?
Sure.
What we're looking at?
Absolutely. So we've been in the steam-fired water heating business for quite a long time, and the last number of years also the semi-instantaneous water-to-water heating. But what we're launching here this year at AHR is a little bit unique. So what we have here is a plate and frame heat exchanger accompanied with a mixing station on board. And that's the electronic mixing valve connected to our new generation controller. So we launched this controller this year as well. And what we have here is a touchscreen controller followed behind it by a backup controller as well, which is right here, okay? And that allows for, you know, the redundancy, of course. So it's a proven product in the field already. We're excited to be launching it. It has a lot of onboard stuff with it as well. Data logging, along with temperature tracking, which can graph and chart. And it is it also has built-in BACnet capabilities. So that is the 50-foot view of what we got going on here. And we're excited to launch this new product.
Awesome. So yeah, you know, with this we're able to take the building heating hot water into the heat exchanger and use that heat with our mixing valve to provide constant domestic hot water, correct?
Correct. We eliminate the valve, the two-way or three-way valve on the boiler side, and bring it on over to the domestic side. So getting this certified as an actual mixing station is our next step, which should happen in the next few months. And additionally, one of the exciting parts about it is it's feed-forward feedback design. So that's something new to our system as well.
That's great. That's great. Well, appreciate your time here.
Absolutely.
And talking about the newest offering from DHT. And again, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
All right, that wraps up our 2020 AHR Expo. Today, we got to see some of the best products, some of the best booths out there. If you have any questions or want to learn more about anything that you saw today, please check out our website, cougarusa.com, or feel free to give us a call.